Instagram too to see if that picks anybody else up. Okay, we are live on YouTube. And do you have a comment section that you can see on your side panel?
I wonder if I go in here.
It should say like comments, and I don't know what else on your screen it will say. And we're on Instagram now.
Yeah, are we okay? Yes. Okay, I got back to YouTube Studio. I think that's what I needed to be on for the comments.
Okay.
I think I'm in the right place.
Okay, well, the audio is good.
I'm just confused because we're streaming in both places. Like on StreamYard and in YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see comments. Diane, hello. And the Crafty Librarian, hello. And so you can see those, Hannah, coming through on YouTube?
I can, some of them.
Okay.
I have the Crafty Librarian. Is the other one on Instagram or on YouTube?
No, YouTube as well. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it just linked me late.
Actually, I can see the difference now. She's on your channel. So I think you're just seeing your channel's comments because you're not on the StreamYard thing. If you go back to StreamYard, it probably will pull them all together. Hello, Kay. Hello from Kansas City. How are you? Well, we're live for the first time together, guys. And so I guess we should do an intro because this is going to be saved to our YouTube channels. So my name is Laura, also known as Textile Crafts on social media. And this is my friend, Hannah.
And I'm Hannah, the Pokey Needle. And I have no idea what I'm doing.
We're just having fun.
Hopefully I don't disconnect again.
Hopefully not. Your internet, it looks good today. It looks very clear, and your audio is clear too. So Misty, hello, and Cindy, how are you?
Hi, ladies.
Everybody. So what is everyone up to tonight? I've never went live on a Saturday, so we weren't sure if this was a good time or not. But so we are here because Hannah had the awesome idea to do this SAL. And actually, I have a banner. Let me pop it up if I can find it. So these are the greatest of these series from Summer House Stitchworks. And we're going to be doing a SAL with this. So do you want to tell us about your idea for this and how long it's going to be and all that?
Yeah, so I started mine this morning. I had a little bit of time. And my thought was with this project that I believe they are about 4,000 stitches. I think one of them was closer to 5. And so my thought was if we put in about 1,000 stitches a month, it would take about a year. And so I thought if we started now and ran the SAL through the end of next year, that would give us all a little bit of time if we get busy, that we don't feel like we're behind.
Right.
And I can share my start. I did mine a little bit different. I thought I had the pattern here. So I started with Faith. I don't know this camera. I started with Faith, and of course all of these patterns have the striped colors, and I went back and forth with which colors to do, and I finally landed on a multicolor.
Oh, that looks really pretty. I love that. This is the Dark Copper, right? From Pirate Robin?
This is Dark Copper by Pirate Robin. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out where the camera is.
It's always awkward. Yeah, it's like reverse.
I wish they would just like put it in the middle. I just was so nervous about doing this multicolor. I don't know how well you guys can see that.
It looks really, got a lot done today. Wow. And I like it on the really neutral because that's what I love to do with the variegated. If it's super variegated, I want my fabric to be super neutral so that the floss really shows well.
Yeah, I got about 500 stitches in. It stitches up fast.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if, if you changed color, if it would take longer, but I feel like the way the pattern is, at least on this part, this portion of the chart, it was just back and forth in rows, and it was really easy to stitch up.
Yeah,
So,
I like how it's stitching up. That's the thing with the
so
variegated is you never know. And sometimes I just let it happen, and then sometimes I try to control it because the dark copper is what I used on that acorn piece, and
oh,
that
is
I
it?
controlled it for that piece. So, but it's interesting to see how different it is if you just stitch, and I love it. So,
I know, and that's part of my problem is I always want to go, well, this is brown, so I want that to be brown too on the other
yeah,
side, especially with something that is symmetrical like this. And so it's been hard to just go, I'm just gonna go where the floss goes.
I think it's going to be really
Um,
pretty, especially since it's charted that way where it's like three different colors. I think it's really made for a variegated color.
yeah, so I thought I would go ahead and try this with that colorway. One thing I am doing that I do a lot of times with my variegated flosses is instead of just pulling one piece of the floss and cutting it and using all of that up, I'll actually do two and alternate so that, like, if one of them is more brown, then I'm not just getting a bunch of brown in one area.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, and that's one thing I wish with this one I had done differently, and I may do it because I'm going to be using the Pirate Robin, the Belladonna floss, which is like it is different, the blues and purples. So it's similar to the dark copper with the color changes. And instead of I usually just take a skein and cut it in equal lengths. I think I'm going to wait and just cut color sections in case I want to stitch it the same way and where I control the colors. Because I was thinking since it's got like two blues and a purple, I could do like a gradient on this one and kind of go down.
That's
So
really cool.
that's just a thought.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really cool idea.
So I haven't started yet. Actually, well, I was busy with market, but I'm also waiting. I had fabric that was supposed to be delivered today from Hobby House, and it was a day late. So I may have to start tomorrow because I really want to see it. I've got some just plain antique white that I know the thread would really pop on, but I'm thinking about. I have one. Actually, I put the picture in so I could show everybody. This is what I'm waiting on from Hobby House. I think it's called Grace Notes Blueberry blueberry milkshake. And I just wanted to see if I liked it on a blue fabric. So I don't know.
That's a pretty fabric.
Yeah, I haven't tried that. I've had the raspberry latte, which I really loved, but I haven't tried the blue one. So
I just thought with mine being so variegated to do it on the neutral fabric
oh
would
yeah,
pop.
and I think it looks good with the browns and the greens and everything. So will you change it up and do the other in the series like different colors, or will you stick with that throughout?
I was actually thinking of my finishing, and I'm thinking I might frame them and put them on the wall together. So if they're different colors, if I use different colorways, I want them to coordinate.
Yeah. Well, my thought I was going to do I'm doing this one in the blue purple kind of look. And then love, I was for sure going to do like a pink red. And then hope, I was thinking of doing in all greens. I don't know.
That's really cool. That's a cool idea. I like that.
So, yeah. And I think I just use Pirate Robin because she has so many different colors in those, like the variegated, like the greens and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'll just use hers throughout. So,
yeah, I was looking at some of her new stuff. She's got some really pretty silks too.
yeah, I haven't tried her silks yet. I ordered a skein of her yarn though. After I saw yours, I was like, okay, I got to try that too. But I haven't used it yet.
I haven't used mine yet. I have a list somewhere of like smaller projects. I need to pull that out and just stitch something up. But I also want to learn to knit, and I just need to take time to do that. I don't think it'll be difficult once I start.
No, that's a good like fall winter craft to get started with. You can stay inside on your couch and just work on it. That's what I did. I just because it does take hours because you drop stitches and then you get frustrated and then you have to keep trying again. So, but once you get it, you get it.
Do you crochet?
I've been trying to knit some. Yeah, I do crochet. I started with knitting though, and then I learned to crochet. My sister-in-law did the opposite. She started crocheting first, and then she learned to knit. So everybody's different. But I think if you can do one, you kind of can do both. So
I tried to knit, and it was so hard for me. So I think it was because this was back in the day, and there was no YouTube, and we pulled out a book and we're reading it, and I was like, maybe it's because I'm left-handed. I don't know what I'm doing. And my husband tried, and then his aunt was like, I can teach you to crochet. And I was like, okay. And then I just thought maybe it might be like the knitting, but I picked it right up. So
Well, I think crochet for me, it's less intimidating when you make a mistake. You can just rip back and it's no problem. But even still with knitting, I hate when I have to rip back and I drop stitches and I can't figure out where I was. So that's the challenging part with knitting for me still is if I have to, frog back to a place. So that's where I use lifelines in my knitting. It's what it's called, where you put a strand of thread through it. That way it saves your stitches if you have to rip out. So
Well, that's
I
a
just
good
started
tip.
a sweater actually. I've never fully finished a garment like that. And I really want to do that. So, because I always just make like scarves and shawls or hats, like little things. So, but I really want to make a sweater.
That was why I wanted to start knitting in the first place, is because with crochet, I make a lot of blankets and different things, but the clothing is a little, it's a different look. So,
Yeah, I like it, and you can customize it because I like more of a cropped sweater and stuff like that. Not like super short, but I'm short and I'm 5'2", so I don't like super long stuff. So I'm able to customize it if I sew something for myself or whatever. So,
yeah.
oh, Diane, you're in Belfast. Wow, it's past midnight there. And Kay, you're working on Christmas at Hawthorne Hollow. I love that one. That's a big piece.
Yeah, what is everybody working on? Who's ready for fall? I'm so ready for fall. It's over 100 actual
Oh,
temperature here
really?
today.
I haven't been
So,
outside in like a day or two, so I don't even know what it is here. Hot. I know
so
that.
yeah, it's hot. Um, I don't know what else to talk about with this actual stitch along. If there's anybody has any ideas, or if you guys want to share in the comments what fabrics you're using or what flosses you're using,
Yeah.
or
And definitely tag us on Instagram when show us your start or your progress. I love to see that. And the hashtag for it is what? The greatest of these SAL?
greatest of these SAL. I just left the off the front.
Yeah. Those hashtags can get kind of long. Let's see. I think I can make a banner. Hashtag greatest of these. Oh, there we go.
So how did the market go?
It's going good. It's going through Monday, so it's a long weekend. It's actually slow just sitting in your booth because the shops are so busy. They don't have time to just stop in and chat with everybody. So, but I've really enjoyed meeting other designers, though. That's really been the highlight of the week, getting to chat with them and just get some advice and tips because I don't know anything. I'm just coming at this from just the side of just loving it, just having fun with it. So the only designer that's been talking to me and kind of helping me, giving me advice is Susan at Sweet Wings. She's awesome. So she's the only one that I had known so far. But there's so many pretty designs. I haven't even like really shopped like I usually do, like looking
Mhm.
at pre-orders and stuff, just because I've been so busy. But like I'm kind of looking at the booths when I have time, and I was like, oh, I need to add that to my list. Add that.
It's so exciting. How did you get started with designing? Did you just one day just say, I love this, I'm going to play with it? Or
It started with that. I don't know if I can point that ornament. I was at Michael's and I found that wooden piece, and I was like, let me try just designing something for that. That sounds fun. And so I made that piece in December. And I really enjoyed it. It really taught me how to use the software because I had never used the charting software. And so after that, it was shortly after that Valentine's Day was coming up. So I did the release of the 2 Valentine's charts. And then after that was when my dog got really sick and I just had to put everything aside. And that 3 months was really hard. So I started designing again kind of more in the summer. And that's when I realized that I decided, I was like, well, the market's coming up. If I can get at least 4 new designs, because I know I'm going to continue with this. I love it so much. I really would love to do that because I really wanted to get my paper charts into cross stitch shops to support them as well. And that way my Etsy shop will only have the PDFs. And so anyway, I'm just glad that I did it. And like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun with it. But
well, I think you're doing a great job.
well, thank you. It's been really fun. And it was awesome working. This is my first time doing a thread pack with Pirate Robin. And you actually introduced me to her threads, through your YouTube channel, and then you gifted me some. And so that got me looking at her Etsy shop, and I saw the dark copper, and I was like, that has to be a fall design. I just absolutely love that color. It's got to be a piece. So the floss actually came first, and then I designed the piece. And so after I designed it, like, I don't know what you're supposed to do, but I had the thought, I was like, I probably should message her and just say, hey, by the way, I used your thread in a new design.
Mhm.
So when I did, she was so sweet and so happy. And And I said, hey, well, just by chance, do you do wholesale? And she said, well, not yet, but I'm willing to. So that's how we came up with the idea to do thread packs. And it's been great because the shops don't have a chance to buy her threads yet. So they've been loving those too. So I really hope that she has great success and maybe does wholesale in the future too. So
Yeah, I think she's just getting started as well.
yeah, I think so because we were both kind of learning things together as we go. So, but yeah, I love supporting other small businesses too.
Well, I think it's great that you're getting started with this. I've designed some stuff, and I've just thought I don't know if, like, I'm really busy with other stuff, if I could keep up with designing. And then I thought, well, maybe if I just don't set that expectation for myself, I could do it and just focus on a few patterns a year or something.
Yeah. There's no, I mean, some designers, I don't know how they put out so many, to be honest with you. I know sometimes they have a lot of model stitchers or whatever the case may be, but still, it's a lot. So for me, I'm not going to stress myself out. It's going to still, I'm trying to still make it fun. But I know I got some advice this year that a lot of designers are just switching to the model of releasing like twice a year, like in the spring and fall. So that may be something I'll look into where you just have more of those two releases than having a bunch throughout the year. So I don't know. I think you have to find what works for you, and I'm sure it'll just come as I've been doing this longer. So
Yeah, I couldn't imagine releasing stuff like every month or something. I see some designers just when they create it, they're like, here you go. And I
yeah,
mean, everybody has their own, you know, I think your followers get used to your style of release. I don't think it hurts you either way you go.
yeah. And I love that there's something for everybody. Like no matter your taste, and my taste is all over the place. To be honest, like I love stitching an antique sampler, and I love stitching modern, quirky things. So I don't like to limit myself. And my designs so far have just been whatever I have an idea for. I just develop it. Usually, I've never been good at drawing. That's where I was always thinking, can I even do this? But I kind of just try to get the idea, and then I usually chart it all out first, and then it seems to work out better, and then I stitch it and kind of tweak it towards the end. So that's kind of been my process so far. But
Well, I am really excited to stitch that leaf behind you.
the autumn
I
leaf,
think
that's a
that thing
quick
is
stitch.
gorgeous.
Thank you. And it's just the DMC. I love that color variations floss. It's just like simple. And that one, I did not worry about color placement. I just stitched and it came out beautifully. So I used that on my Cranky Owl too from Modern Folk. And I just loved it so much. I was like, oh, I got to use that again. So
Yeah, I think that's one thing about finding some favorite flosses is that you can just stitch
yeah,
away. That's why some of the small pieces, like these greatest of these, they're smaller, and I can get used to what I like as far as the stitching style, and with the flosses. And then when I want to do something like a long dog, I
yeah,
know better what it looks like. So
yeah, exactly. It's a great way to try it. So let's see. Jen, you had asked if we were ready for fall, and she said she is so ready for fall. But it's been a lot cooler here in NC, North Carolina, I'm guessing, this week, lower 80s. Sorry, I've been like, all the invoices have been coming in as abbreviated states, and I have to double check myself on Google because I never trust myself when I see that. But yeah, actually, even here in the South, it's been a little bit cooler in the mornings. I mean, it heats up fast, but it's just that little bit of touch of spring in the mornings.
it's been getting down to 60 here, which is crazy.
Oh,
And then
wow.
shooting up to 100, and it's just this last couple of weeks. So it's showing that our weather's supposed to, like, the cooler temperatures are supposed to be moving in next week. So I'm excited.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, we probably won't get those until like late September, even October, because it's technically still hurricane season here through, I don't even know. It's like crazy how late it goes through.
Yeah, I don't know much about the South other than it's probably too hot for me.
It is. It's too hot for me. I don't know why anybody lives down here. But there's stuff everywhere. It's like, there's no perfect weather, I don't think.
No, we have talked about moving to Tennessee, so we'll see if that
I
happens
would
in a couple of
love to
years.
move to Tennessee. Yeah. The only thing there, every time we go on vacation, is we always get like the tornado warnings and stuff when they have storms, and it always kind of scares me being in that more central part of the country. But
Well, I'm in Kansas, so we have tornado warnings all
oh,
the
you're
time.
used to that. It may be less there then.
So. Yeah, we're waiting for my son. He plays ball here in high school, and so I don't want to try to make any big changes until he's done. It's just 2 years.
Oh, just 2 more years? Yeah, that's good. I totally understand that. He's probably got his friends and everything and his team, and he doesn't want to leave that. Are they
So
going
yeah,
off to college, or are they doing college local?
my oldest is, I don't know what he's doing. He just turned 18. So he just graduated and he keeps going back and forth with what he wants to do because he is kind of a savant when it comes to playing the piano.
Oh,
And so he
wow.
was talking about going to Berkeley Music College, but it's like a university prices. It's not a small college.
Mhm.
And so he keeps going back and forth, and I want to make sure he wants to do it. Um, so I'm not sure what he's going to end up doing, but he kind of just didn't commit to anything this fall. And then my other son playing ball, he's hoping to get a scholarship and actually go pro with it.
Oh, awesome. That's really good. Yeah, so did you start your son that played piano just with lessons when he was little, or did he pick it up on his own?
He was gifted a little toy keyboard. It wasn't the tiny one, but it was a little bit bigger, and he just started playing, and we were like, "What is this?"
Wow,
So it was about a year or so ago. We got him some lessons, so he learned some of the technical stuff, but he just was self-taught.
that is just amazing. I can't believe that because I was in lessons in and out my childhood. Like my parents, they wanted me to learn. I wanted to learn, but I was just never diligent with the practice times. And I still, even as an adult, have picked it up throughout the years, and I just never stick with it. So I don't have the gift for sure. But
I can't draw. I can't really play piano. I play other instruments, and that was one that I took lessons for a couple of years, and it just didn't take. So
yeah, my husband's pretty musical. He has always enjoyed. He started with like guitar, and then he piddles like on the keyboard, and now he's getting into drums. So that's kind of just a little side thing for him, just that he does for fun. But yeah, I have too many other hobbies to keep up with. It's like it's hard to do it all. So you have to pick your favorites, I guess.
yeah, I feel like through the years, I just cycle through my hobbies. I just
Yeah,
sometimes they get put down for a couple of years, and then I pick them back up.
I know. And I've learned not to like sell my supplies and stuff because there something will happen where I'll see some project online. I'm like, "Ooh, I have that stuff. I want to pick it back up again," you know. So I just have learned to keep my stuff. So
I know I did a big purge a few years ago with some stuff, and I'm like, oh, because I was talking to my husband. He's like, you could just buy this stuff again, and I'm like, some of it you can't. You know, you
yeah.
it's hard to get. So, well, let's see. I think Kay said she was stitching on antique white.
Oh, that's what I have a piece of that I may do. So, oh, you can't do the linen? So what? That's fine. I mean, trust me. Sometimes I just like to pull out a piece of Ada. Like if my eyes are tired.
I stitch on all of it. My sister-in-law,
Yeah,
she'll only stitch on Ada.
I think it looks beautiful on all of it. So it's just a personal preference. But I'm like you. I've noticed you talk about in your floss tubes how your tension problems on the Lugana. I do find that I guess I just pull too much. I need to lessen my tension, or I get used to maybe stitching on one cloth, and then when I switch to the other, my tension's different. So, but I'm guessing when you iron it or fully finished, that won't be a problem. I don't know. I really haven't had a piece that I've done that with.
Um, I'm not sure it's down here. I'm gonna scoot back. I might have the Happy Bees. I ironed it to share on Instagram, and it all the tension loosened back up. So maybe
Oh,
that's something
okay.
with Lugana is that when you iron it, just whatever the fibers are made out of, they loosen up a little bit. And I have all of my fabrics are really wrinkled. We had our power go out for 2 days
Hmm,
um, a couple weeks ago, and I think that like just the humidity in the house, everything got really, really wrinkled.
that's weird.
Because they're not usually this bad.
Yeah. And I try to remember to press before videos, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. And honestly, when I watch other people's videos, I don't care. I don't mind. So I don't know why I feel like I have to do that. Let me see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody's comments. So we have Oodles of Stitches. Hello from England. I knit and crochet, but I have gone down the X stitch rabbit hole for the past few months. I totally understand. When I discovered cross stitch, I think it was like 2021. I pretty much exclusively did that for the last couple of years. I've only recently tried to get back into my other hobbies just because I love all of them. So I'm trying to make time. Cindy is driving. And Kay, knit, crochet, embroidery, cross stitch, quilt, and sew garments. That sounds like me. If it has a needle and thread, I'm there. I totally agree. I just love it all. And Jen said, in the South, it's not the heat, but the humidity. Actually, I can put these on the screen. Why am I reading all these? It is true. The humidity is really, that's what gets you. It's been really nice. And
Hi, Shannon.
welcome. I'm loving your channel. You do some amazing full coverage. So did you have a piece to show? An example of your, were you pulling out something?
Yeah, I was, but I'm not. I think it's upstairs.
Oh, I got you.
I did have a couple things to share, though.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry if that's loud. I don't know this mic. I might be making a lot of noise. I have a question. So I started playing around with jewelry, and I made this. If I can find the camera, I made this little scissor fob.
That's pretty.
My question is, thank you. My question is, if anybody makes these, I feel like the wire I used is kind of tight. So I don't know if anybody has any.
What wire did you use?
I don't know. It's jewelry wire. I can't remember what gauge I used. But I didn't, it's not very thick.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it will loosen, if it loosens up as you play with it, or
Yeah.
and it's probably not a big deal.
Yeah, maybe you'll just have to use it for a while and see if it does loosen up. I don't know. I took that pin making class with Beth Twist, but we didn't do anything with the wire. She just had showed us where to get the pins. So I don't really have any experience with the wire, but maybe somebody in the comments will. So that didn't require any glue, right? Like you just thread them on.
You'd think I'd remember how I made this. I think at the bottom I put like I used a tool and just twisted it into, if you can see, there's just like a little loop there, but I think I just twisted it. Isn't that funny? I did it a couple weeks ago. I can't remember what I did. I think that's all I did was just twist the wire at the top and the bottom, and
yeah, I would think that would
no
be
glue or anything.
Yeah, I like it. I guess you would just have to try different types of wires to see which one you preferred. Like I would think you could even use those strong like plastic cables and not even have to use the wire.
Yeah, I saw people use satin. There's a way to use, it's like the Chinese ribbon that they use to make, I don't know what they're called, but satin ribbon that a lot of designers use, and then it's loose.
Yeah.
I just don't think with those smaller beads the satin ribbon would work, so that's why.
Probably not. Yeah.
Here was I forgot to show this in my floss tube. It's a bee one that I made. A little bee.
Oh, I like that.
A little bee picture.
Oh, I just go that way. Yeah, that's pretty.
But that's the first jewelry stuff I've made, and I thought that would be really cute to put on my bag.
I guess there are not really tutorials like on YouTube for how to make that, but you could probably find tutorials for how to make like jewelry that would still apply to that you could use on the scissor fobs and stuff.
Yeah, I looked. There's so much stuff out there. With the fobs, there's a lot of people that make those keychains with the really big balls.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to do that. So I think honestly, I'm just gonna have to take time to play around with it and find something that works.
Yeah, that could be like a whole nother rabbit hole of like all the pretty beads, all the little findings that you can buy and the charms, but
Well, I have some. My son wanted to get into this stuff years ago. He was probably like 10 years old. Mom, I wanted to do this. Okay, you can do it. And I bought all this stuff and he never did it. And so that's why I was like, well, I have the beads here. I might as well play around with it.
Might as well. Yeah, for sure. I kind of got into clay, like making clay beads for a while, and paper beads and that kind of thing. And that was years ago. So I still have all those supplies, but I don't love working with polymer clay. It's kind of hard on my hands to have to really like soften it up and everything. So I never really got into it. But it would be fun to get into that now that I'm doing cross stitch, because you can make your own buttons and little things to add to your projects. So
I have thought about doing that so many times. I'm like, just the learning process with clay, I think it's just, it would take me too long because I'm too busy with other things.
I know there's just not enough time in the day to do everything, plus all the stuff we have to do, like chores and feeding the family and everything.
I think that's the thing about us crafters. We just never get bored, do we?
No, and that's a good thing. That is for sure a good thing. I have recently also, gotten into 3D printing, which I thought I would never do, but why not add one more thing? So I'm kind of trying to learn that. And I like it because there's files for like printing floss drops and things like that. So like I can use it for my stitching hobby and for other things. So
My brother does it and he keeps trying to get me into it. He makes some really cool stuff. He made a case for playing cards, and I can't remember what it does, but like you use it while you're playing too. Like it was some really cool thing, and I was like, well, now I want one of those. But he sent me his laser engraver, and I'm gonna practice with that. I wanted to do some leather things to see if I could make some leather like keychains and stuff.
yeah, can you also engrave on the wood with that one, like they do to make the little what do you call them, needle minders and stuff?
Mm-hmm. I'd probably do that. It's
Yeah.
been sitting there. I'm like, that's one more thing I have to learn. But I was waiting. He gave it to me in June, and I need to do it in the garage because of the ventilation, and it's so hot. I was just waiting.
Oh yeah, wait till the fall when it cools down for sure.
So I don't know if um, anybody actually wants to hear this, but since I was talking about the happy bees, I left my pattern upstairs. I didn't mean to. This is Ulysses Blue, and I wanted to mention it real quick because she has her she has a shop, and I tried to link it, but I couldn't find her on Instagram. But all of her patterns are 50% off right now, and most of them are only like $3 or $4. Like, but she has samplers, she has Halloween stuff, she has Christmas stuff, she has all kinds of stuff. So
What's her name? What's the name of the
it's
designer?
it's Ulysses Blue Stitching.
Let's see. I've never heard. I mean, there's so many designers I still haven't heard of. Let me see.
I think she only has about 40 patterns. I say only 40. To me, that's a lot. But so I don't know how long she's been around.
I don't see her at the market, so she must. But a lot of people just do Etsy exclusively, and that's totally fine. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to check that out for sure. There's so many cute patterns on Etsy. Anytime, like I don't have, well, everywhere too, but
everywhere.
I'm like bored. Like I don't have a huge stash, but sometimes I'm like, I just want something new. I go to Etsy and just like browse around and find something that's like instant download. I'm like, okay, I'm in the mood for a new start. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, there's one more new designer. I'm going to show you the pattern. This is Forest Critters. I just purchased it yesterday. She just, I don't,
so cute.
I don't know when it came out. It's her shop is Colorfully Sarah. And I know she has her own site, but she's also on Etsy. And I don't think she's been around that long.
That is super cute. I think that'd be cute in a variegated floss too.
But hers are also really cheap. I think that was $4. So
yeah,
I feel like some of these designers, I mean, not to say I want to pay more, but they need to know their worth to charge enough.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of work. So,
well, I didn't really know what to charge. Honestly, I had to just get some advice, and they say just kind of look at what everyone else is charging, basically, you know, to kind of get an idea. So, I kind of just priced it by the size. Went off of that.
For me, that's one thing I look at is I don't want to pay $20 for something that takes it, you know, one day to stitch. Like I feel like that's kind of overpriced. Yeah. So
right.
I do look at the size when I'm looking at charts.
Yeah. I need to get my my floss, the overdyed floss, organized. That's where I'm kind of lacking, because I've been a member of the Floss Fix from Fat Quarter Shop for years now, so I'm kind of getting a big collection of that, and I just have a bad habit of just kind of tossing it all in the same bag, and so I have to kind of dig through it when I'm looking for a color. So I ended up buying that rack that you may have seen Christy from Floss Boss and Cousins show from Amazon. It looks like a sales rack. It's like one of those round things that has the wheels. So I bought one, and I think I'm going to organize all of like the Classic Colorworks, the Weeks, Gentle Arts, all of that on there. And the only thing, I think I've heard floss tubers talk about tags that make the weeks the same length. You know what I'm talking about? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I don't know if I have any down here. Let me check. I'm stuck. I brought a few bags down here earlier, so I think I have some, and I could send you the link of the ones that I have.
Yeah, because I want them to be like the same length when they're hanging on that rack. I don't want it to look, you know.
Yeah,
that's my OCD coming out, I guess.
2 needles pulling thread, I think, shared it originally.
Okay.
I might not have any down here.
We'll check their floss tube.
That'd be crazy.
Did you get them from Amazon?
I can send you the link for the ones I bought. I did not buy the ones that they purchased because the ones they purchased were really, I think they were wide. The ones I purchased, they're smaller. You can see that.
Oh, okay. I like that.
But I liked it because I think this hole was bigger.
Mm-hmm. Because I use the big too, so I like that.
The only thing you have to do is these go down a little bit, and so you have to cut off about 1/8 of an inch. And the way they're on they have a backing, so you can cut them off real easy. It's not hard to do.
Okay.
But I love it because, one of the problems when you have your weeks, it kind of catches because it's up higher. So I love that they hang the same that way.
Even on your ring in your back project bag like that. Yeah, that is a good idea. So how do you store yours though, hanging just in your craft room?
So I have mine in tubs right now. They're just in little buckets, but I have them all on rings like this.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, like my classic colorworks, I have them in alphabetical order because I find that if I'm searching for a color to kit, that's typically how I do it. But I only have like 2 full rings of them. So, because I originally had them sorted by color, but I thought this is easier for me when I need to find a specific color. And then I have a lot of color and cotton because I'm in their club. So those I have sorted by colorway. But I also think that designers are just now starting to incorporate color and cotton. But I also find I know their names better to know what color I'm looking for.
Okay. See, that's the one I don't have much of a collection of. I need to look into joining that club because I think that's a great way to build up your stash, just from my experience with the other floss brands. Kay asked us if we would show the SAL pattern again. So I'm going to pop that back up on the screen, and then maybe if she wanted to see, I'm not sure, our supplies. Let me see. So these are the 3 charts. I think we're both starting with Faith, but you're welcome to choose any one of the 3. And we're going to do, each one lasts 4 months. And so that will take a year for us to stitch. So, and I love the way they're charted, honestly, with the 3 colors. But I think that I'm going to do, what's that other series? The other series that came before this, like the Seasons. Remember that series they came out with that had the 3 different colors?
I think I'm going to start.
Yeah, I already started buying the DMC for that. So I'm going to stitch those kind of that way. So I didn't want to do these the same way. That was my thought.
Yeah, I never picked those up. I always wanted to, and then I haven't yet. So when these came out, I thought, I'm going to start with these first.
So maybe I will do those after I finish this SAL.
There's so many patterns. It's hard. It's so hard for me. I'm like, I keep adding stuff to the fall, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't stitch all this stuff because I do really want to get some things finished. So I limited myself this fall. I think it was for September and October to only start 1 new project a week. I'm like, that's terrible, but that's what I'm doing.
Well, you had a lot of new starts. What was it, over the summer? You had a period where you were doing a lot. Oh, Mania too. So
my idea was if I got them started, I would finish them quicker, and then I could move on to new things.
Yeah.
and then I just kitted a bunch more. So eventually I will share all the stuff I just kitted. But the stuff I'm kitting now, I'm trying to get ready for next year.
Yeah.
And I only like to have so many projects in bags though, because then you know all your floss and stuff is allocated.
Exactly.
So I'm going to show this one more time for anybody who
Yeah,
wasn't
you made a
here
lot of
earlier.
progress
This
today.
is my start.
I'll
And
post it on Instagram when I started.
I am using Pirate Robin's, what is it called?
Dark copper.
Dark Harper. Sorry, I forgot. And I'm stitching on linen. I'm stitching 1/2 on 40 count ivory,
It looks good.
which has, do you see over here? It's on the side. Do you see that little, there's like, it's not a slub, it's like a loop, but it's worse on the back.
Oh,
So
really?
I was like, well, I don't think it'll get in the way of my pattern. I've
Yeah.
never seen that on fabric before. Where there's
No,
just
it's good that you caught that before you started stitching, and like you wouldn't want that in the middle of your design.
But it's crazy wrinkled. I ironed this yesterday. I don't know why things are getting so wrinkled right now, but I'm not going to over iron it.
Yeah, I know. I've heard, I think it was Susan Stanley say she doesn't even iron for her videos because she doesn't want to, do that too much to her linens. So I've kind of tried to back off with too much of the ironing. I guess it's harder on some fabrics than others.
I ironed for my Instagram pictures this week because I'm really trying to get back to sharing, because they're so they're like creased. So I was like, it was hard to photograph without getting weird shadows.
Yeah. I need to learn how to use Instagram, because even when you and I were messaging and it goes into that dark mode on Messenger, I'm like, I don't know what I did to get this on, like, it's called vanish mode or something. And then all your whole conversation disappears. And I don't know what I clicked to do that. So
Mine did that too. And it's like, do you want to go out of vanish mode? I was like, yes, please.
Yeah, please.
I don't know anything about Instagram. I really need to figure out how to do like the reels and the stories better, because I just don't know.
No.
And then I don't do it,
Yeah. I just got on Instagram, honestly, after I started my floss tube channel, because I know it was a great place to share your stitching and I wanted to follow other stitchers. So I'm still really learning how to use it. So
that's the only reason I'm on it. I wish they would fix their algorithm. I think they made it bad so that you had to be on there more, to scroll more, to try to find people.
that makes sense. Yeah. And I'm not on TikTok. I never got on that thing. It's just like, I feel like it's too many things to keep up with. And even the Threads, the new one from the same company, it's like I can't keep up with all of these. I need to just limit. So I do Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and that's pretty much it. So
that's more than me. I got off of Facebook a few years ago, so I've been tempted to go back just for the cross stitching, but I was like, oh
yeah, I wanted to have the group for the channel, and so I enjoy that, but that's all I'd use it for. So but there are actually like exclusive groups, aren't there, for cross stitch? So like they'll say you can only get the kit on the Facebook group. So
I know, that's why I'm really tempted. And I thought, well, that's everything in life. You can just want to do it all. And I was like, I'm just not going to. I just feel like it would be too much for me. But my son keeps asking me, I think eventually, probably next year, I would like to start a Discord group. He said they're trickier to set up initially, but I think what's great about Discord is it's all in real time. So if people are sharing stuff, you're not having to filter through like on Instagram.
That's interesting. See, my husband uses Discord, but I didn't know how it worked. For me, it was always like a gamer thing. So I wasn't really sure. So yeah, but let me know if you set one up. I'll join and see how to use it.
Yeah, I have a lot of author friends that are in there, and it seems to work fine. And you can share pictures, and people can chat real easy. And I just thought that might be good for this community.
Yeah, that would be really neat. Have you looked to see if there's other stitchers that are doing it yet, or any cross stitching on there?
No, but I haven't heard of it anywhere.
Yeah, I haven't either. I don't think it's a common thing in our little community, so.
Yeah, I was really also hoping, I don't know. I get ideas, and I really don't want to do them all, because I can get carried away. But I think it would be great if we had a platform like Etsy that was just for cross stitch.
Yeah.
And there are platforms out there that we could do that on. And I just thought, is that a venture I want to take on? Because you wouldn't be starting from scratch. Like, the platform's there, the store's there already.
Right.
It would just be getting everybody together to do it. But to have something set up that it was already seamless so that the designers, to take the load off of the designers, that you would still have
Yeah.
your own page, but it wouldn't have the cost.
Yeah.
I
That's
feel like that.
actually, I had a similar thought this morning, just dealing with this market. I thought something like that would be nice to have. So go ahead, make that, please, for everyone.
Well, and I don't know anything about the industry, like behind the scenes for like the markets and stuff. I don't know if it could be something where designers could have their own like chat rooms and stuff where they could bounce stuff off of each other real easy and have a way to connect. I don't know if designers have that right now, if there's anywhere
I
they
don't
can
know
go
if
to
you
talk.
do. There is like a little lounge in this venue, which is really awesome to be able to go in and just chat. And then you can do like personal chatting. So I think it's nice to have options like that.
But
And
I
let's
mean,
see, Jen
I'm
said
not.
that she's on there on the Discord, I'm guessing, but there's no stitching groups.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so we should probably get something like that started. I think it would be
yeah, that would
nice.
be fun. It couldn't be that
Um,
hard to learn how to use it. So
the people that I know that got on it, if they could figure it out, I mean, I'm not saying they're not brilliant people. I'm just saying if they could figure it out, I'm pretty sure that we could figure it out too.
I think so. Maybe I'll let you set it up and then I'll just learn how to use it.
So, but I don't want that to be like connected to my channel. I think it would just be great to have one for the community.
Just a general stitching kind of chat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you have to have admins though for that kind of thing, right? Just to make sure everything stays.
Hire my kids.
There you go. A little side job.
Just kidding. Yeah, I think you'd have to have some moderators.
Yeah.
I know that I think it was about a year ago, they really upped their game on getting rid of the spam stuff. That's another thing about Discord is you don't get all the spam.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah. I know I'm always worried on Instagram, like with the hackers and everything. I'm changing my password all the time just because everyone's had bad experiences. All these stitchers can't get their accounts back and stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was hacked a while ago, and I'm like, I'm nobody. Like, why are you hacking me?
I have nothing to offer. What do you? It's stitching. Oh goodness.
So I have a question for everybody. When I was going through this summer, going through my projects, I realized I didn't have any needles anywhere. And I started taking all the needles out of my project bags. Do you guys leave needles in your project bags?
I leave it in my fabric. And I know that's not the best thing to do. But I hate when I sit down to stitch and I can't find a needle. So I'd rather just have it in the project so I can just get stitching.
I started I have a magnet because I stitch in hand, so I don't usually use a needle minder. I have a magnet in like a little bowl, and I just have needles on it. So
good idea.
Just, if I want, because sometimes you want multiple colors to go back and forth. Yeah. I just started doing that because I've always left needles in my bags, and then I realized like I've got needles everywhere.
What is your favorite brand of needles?
Tulip? Is that a brand?
Oh, yeah. That is, yeah. I like the Peacemakers 28. That's usually my go-to.
I don't know about Peacemakers. I do want to try the Pony Black ones.
I tried them. They could slice through my fingers, so I can't use those. Something about them.
Are they really?
Well, they are, but just the way I guess I hold my needle, just that black metal just made a nice slice right through my fingers. So, and it was sore for days. I couldn't stitch after that. So, but I know a lot of people love them. So I think it's just a personal preference.
I think with the tulip ones, I don't know if the eye of the needle is. I think the smallest I have is 26.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like it's smaller than some of the other needles that I've had. And so it works fine on 40, but I have one project, I think on 46, and I found that it's really kind of tight. So that's why I was looking for alternatives. I started stitching with the tulip because I have an allergy to nickel, and a lot of the needles have a nickel base.
Oh, okay.
because nickel, I guess, goes through the fabric smoother than like stainless steel.
Yeah.
And I started stitching the first few days, and my fingers were really red, and I was like, "What is happening to my hand?" And so that's how I ended up with tulip needles, and they're more expensive, but I really like them.
Yeah, the peacemakers are actually super cheap. I heard about them from Brenda on Brenda and the Serial Starter. That was her. I think that's her go-to needle is, and I just use the 28 for anything, even if I'm stitching on 32 count. Um, but I've tried when I got into cross stitch, everyone loved the Pat Carson needles, and so but shortly after that they quit making them. So I had bought some, but I didn't really use them enough to really fall in love with them like everybody else. So I never got that attached to them. So that's when I just switched to the peacemakers. But
Maybe I'll just buy a pack of Pony Black, and when I looked to get them this spring, everybody was sold out. I think
yeah, they
everybody was
were.
switching over.
Everybody was like really wanted to try them. I think they're more in stock now. If I can find mine, I'd send them to you, but because I can't use them, but I'm not even sure where they are.
But I need to get some 28s for my smaller count. I was
Yeah,
surprised when I started stitching on 46. It's no worse than 40. Like it's not harder for me than
really?
40 count.
I'll
Mhm.
have to try it. I'm a little nervous to try it, but
I started that with my 1001 Nights because it's a huge pattern. And I was,
yeah,
like it's already going to be big. And I was like, I didn't want it to be like, I think it was like 20 by 24 or something inches. And I was like, I got to stitch this on something small. Because at that point, I was stitching mostly on 28 and 32 count.
yeah.
I was really intimidated, but I stitch with a light and a magnifying light.
Well, that's what I thought. If I ever do like a long dog or something, I need to do it like 25 count over one, so it's not so massive. I can't find a wall to put it on. So,
I have one pattern, it's a Zelda pattern, and I want to get the one I'm stitching now done, but when I'm done, I think it's going to be like poster size, like 36 by 24 or something. It's huge.
oh wow.
I already have a frame for it, so I thought, why not? But it'll
Yeah,
probably take a few years.
for sure. Yeah, and even the bigger modern folk pieces are really big, and I just always tend to stitch the smaller things because I like to be able to finish things. I guess I am a process stitcher, but I also like to finish some stuff. I don't like to just have a bunch of big projects. So I guess I need to pick up those bigger ones though and get some work done on them.
Yeah, I think it's hard because you can say, "Look at what I did," and everybody's like, "Where? What did you do?" On the bigger ones.
Exactly.
At least that's how it feels. I think I have like 12 big projects, and I kind of would rather be under 10. I'm not going to keep adding them.
Yeah.
I think I have most of them. I don't know if I have any like actual full coverage though. Like I've tried it and I don't really enjoy it.
I don't either. It's too much. I bought a few Heaven and Earth designs years ago, probably before I started Floss Tube. And I got all the different aid accounts and things to see what I would like as far as coverage. And I just didn't enjoy having to change colors so frequently and all the confetti, like they call the color changes and all that. It just wasn't for me. That's where I think I would just go back to my diamond painting if I was going to do one of those big pieces like that. So
I do miss my diamond painting. I have not done any in months.
I know. Did you have a style that you liked as far as what you would purchase for the diamond paintings, like a cartoon style or more florals or landscapes?
Um, I just got into it because I'm a paper crafter. I've been paper crafting forever. And at some point a couple years ago, I got a really bad tick bite and it like really affected me. And I just needed something simple to do where I wasn't bored. And so I picked it up and I really got into it. But it was honestly, I just picked up whatever like Amazon had that was like,
Yeah.
but so I've got more of, I think they're like art styles, like something you would see just printed and framed. Like I have the one with the umbrella and the rain coming down.
Yeah.
I have some trees and I have, um, and some of them you finish them and they don't look like the picture. But most of
Yeah.
them that I have, like, I actually want to frame them and get them on my wall. I just had them hung up like on hooks, and so I need to get them framed. But I did buy a new one recently that's like the Lord of the Rings, like the
Oh,
Elven
nice.
place. And
Yeah.
so I do want to do that one. I need to get it set up. I had a table in my living room that like came up, so it was real easy to like just sit and work. And our living room's so small, we went ahead and moved that out of there, and so now I don't want to sit on the floor to do it, so I find something to work on.
That's the thing. It's not a craft you can really sit in your chair in the evenings and cuddle up and do. You have to be sitting at your table or something. And the thing I always disliked about it was you have to go so big to get the details. So I was ending up with all these huge kits, and I'm like, where am I going to put these if I finish them? So, and that was before I started cross stitching. And so I was really into like Diamond Art Club, and I was getting all the new releases. That was kind of like I was into that, like I am now to floss tube. Like I was watching all the YouTubers who had channels for diamond painting. And so I did that, but now I've actually sold a lot of my stash on eBay just because I know I'm never going to get to them. And my style has changed now where I really just like the old masters art, like just where they take, the old artwork and make it into diamond paintings. So I've kept those, but that's the only thing I've done. So.
Yeah, I didn't think about when I started doing it, like, where will this go in my house?
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, there's probably only a handful of them I'm going to keep, and the rest of them, if like my mom doesn't want them, I'll just get rid of them. They were not expensive, and I don't care.
Yeah, some people just do them and they roll them up and never display them, and just because they enjoy the hobby of placing the drills. But did you prefer the square or the round?
I think the round, and I know that they don't fit as tight, but
I found it easier. I didn't like having to line up those square drills. And I think once you seal them, the round ones are fine because it kind of fills in those gaps. So it didn't really matter to me. Christine, you're not late. Welcome.
Hi, Christine.
You're also a quilter and you make bags. Awesome. Do you sell them or do you just make them for yourself? I always love to see the Instagram posts. Like they don't have shops or anything, but they just make little cute bags to match their projects and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I need to do that. I never got into bag making though. I don't know. I sew clothes and stuff, but just never got into the bags.
It's funny. I bought all that fabric and I cannot find my thread. I think it's at my mom's house because I have like 2 big boxes of thread. And I was like, I don't want to go buy new thread to sew. So I haven't sewn anything. And then I got sick and I'm like, I got to get back to that. So I have my sewing machine. I pulled it out and it has its own table now. And so hopefully
awesome.
I can. I've never sewed a zipper. I've always chickened out and have my mom do my zippers. And I watch people do it. And I'm like, it doesn't look hard. Why am I afraid of this? So
just try it. You can always rip it out if it doesn't turn out the way you want. And Christine, you don't sell them, but you make for yourself and friends and family. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think I would sell. I mean, unless somebody said I want to buy it from you, but I don't think I would do it to sell if I start sewing.
No, I just don't think I could keep up with it.
I've gone through phases of sewing in my life. I used to sew a lot of clothes, and then it was the weirdest thing after I got pregnant with my first son. I was like, I hate sewing. It was like a distaste for food. I just didn't like it. It was weird.
Crazy. Yeah, I used to sew a lot of clothes when I was younger when we first got married, and I just haven't over the last few years. I don't know. But I always see something cute, like, oh, I like that skirt or that dress, and I'm short, so it's hard to find stuff that I like the right fit in stores anyway, so that's usually why I would end up sewing my own. So she said to use a number 3 or a 5 zipper with a wide tape.
Well, that's good to know. I know nothing. I just figured if I mess up, it's not a big deal. I'll figure it out. I do have some. I used to have fabric. I got rid of it. It was about the equivalent of 2 trash bags full of fabric that sat in my house for years because I didn't sew. And it was like a year before I started cross stitching. I got rid of all of it. And now I'm like, I wish I would have kept my fabric. I mean, I just donated it because I was like, what am I going to do? It's just sitting here. So, but I do have a little bit of old scrap fabric. So I thought I would start with that. I'd rather waste a zipper than my good fabric.
Yeah, you can always make like a patchwork style if you don't have quite enough for a big bag. I think I've only sewn in an invisible zipper though, for a skirt and a dress. So I've never done just like a bag zipper.
I just, I use these bags from Amazon for my projects.
Yeah.
And my concern is with the more long-term projects, the short ones I don't mind, but the long-term projects, will that plastic, because it's really kind of airtight and stuff, will it affect the fabric? And so that's why I thought having actual project bags And I don't mind buying them, but I've just been spending my money on fabric and floss this year.
Yeah. The bags are expensive, but I totally understand why. There's so much work that goes into them. So I don't fault the bag makers at all for what they charge. But um, yeah, I used to be a member of one of the bag clubs, but I felt like I was collecting too many, so I had stopped for a little while. So, but they're all beautiful, and it's nice to have pretty bags that kind of match the theme of your project.
I'm trying to figure out how many projects that I want and try to, if I should limit myself. Because I do feel like if I have a whip, I want to work on it. But then if I go like 3 months without working on it, and I know some people don't mind, they're like, I have all the projects. And I don't get overwhelmed with it. I just want to I want to see finishes. I don't know. What's your take on that?
I think before I had a channel, I just had a few whips, like because I kind of wanted to just focus on a few things and get that done. And since having FlossTube, I like showing more things, showing variety. So I feel like I've really increased the number of like whips and new starts that I have. And so I go back and forth, like, and because I'm like, sometimes you're just in the mood for a new start, and I think, oh, what's one more new start? So I have a phase where I'm doing all the new things, and then I go like, look at my stuff, like, oh no, I have to finish some of these. So I'm going to go to just stitching 2 projects this week, that kind of thing, like a focus thing. So I think I'm all over the place personally.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was just me because I will,
No,
like in May, I was like, I think I just need to get all these things started, and I finished a lot of them. They were just smaller things, and then in June, I was like, I have all these projects. What am I doing? Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And then in July, like every month, I don't know if it has to do with like how busy I am or energy levels or what that it
yeah.
sometimes feels overwhelming, and then other times it's like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, and, like, in the end, it really doesn't matter. It's a craft, it's a hobby, it's whatever makes you happy, but I don't like that overwhelming feeling of, "Oh, I've got, like, 10 things here. Something needs to get done." So, I do think it kinda is based on what's happening in life too, though, like you said.
Well, I think that's one thing with other crafts, having half finished projects with other crafts for me was like, you shouldn't do that because why would you start something new if you already have one?
Yeah.
And with cross stitch, it kind of breaks all those rules.
Yeah, it does feel different. It really does. And it doesn't take up as much space as, like, a sewing project would where you have to clear your table. So, you just put it in a bag and pick up another project. So, it is a little different, but, have you ever done, like, punch needle? Have you gotten into that? Because I know some stitchers like the punch needle too.
Have you done it?
I think I like played with it years ago, and I bought a kit that I can't find. Of course, the reason I bring it up is because my mother-in-law has started punch needle again, and she's been sending me pictures and stuff. And I was like, "That's really cute." And Lori Holt's like coming out with new kits, and so that's what she was sending me. And I was like, now I'm tempted because I get the punch needle magazine, but I get it for the cross stitch patterns. But I always see
Mhm.
those cute designs, and there are a few new punch needles coming out even at this market. And I'm really tempted, like, because Lori Holt's coming out with a new one for fall that is super cute, and I'm like, I'm very tempted to try it. And then my mind was going. I was thinking of a pattern that I thought that I could design that'd be really cute punch needle. I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Well, I like I like the idea, especially when I saw like I don't know if you saw Stephanie Webb at Lindy Stitches. She shared one that she did several months ago. It might have even been in the winter. And she said, it only took me a day to do it. And I was like, oh, punch needle can be fast. Like, I
That's what
might
I
like that.
discovered. Yeah, like my mother-in-law picked up a really complicated pattern out of one of the punch needle magazines. It had a lot of detail, and I thought it would take her several weeks. In like a couple days, she sent me the finish, and I was like, "That is gorgeous!" Like, and that was quick too. So I'm really tempted. And she wasn't even using that. Don't they have an electric punch that I see like Chantel use? Um,
I don't
but she
know.
was just using one of the other punches, and I thought, maybe I'll try that. And she was using the DMC thread, 6 strand. Lori Holt is using like baby weight yarn, like a little bit thicker thread, so that would go even faster.
So you can use different
Yeah, you have to change
flosses.
up your fabric based on and your needle based on what you're using. Actually, she had bought Lori Holt's new fabric to do hers on, and Lori Holt was using yarn. She was using DMC, and she sent me a picture. She shredded that Lori Holt fabric with that punch needle, And I said, I think it's because you're punching too many times because your thread is thinner. And so
Mhm.
we went back and watched the video, and Lori said her fabric is made for yarn. So she ended up buying like weaver's cloth that had smaller holes, and that worked perfectly. So, she was kind of learning as she goes on this one. Oh yeah, quilting. I miss quilting, but I just don't have the time. But I love watching like that quarter shop when they have the new quilt tutorials and stuff.
I really want to get into some quilt. Okay, I don't want to commit to quilting. I want to make a quilt. Like, and then see how I like it, because I
Yeah,
feel again like that's like a whole nother craft.
I know. Well, you can make one for like each one of your kids. Like have a goal. Like I'm going to make one to gift them. That's something they'll keep forever.
Yeah, I thought I would start by just learning, because I don't know about the edging and all of that, the steps. So I thought I would just make like a throw, and then I really want to make one for my bedroom, but I'm kind of particular about the fabric choices because I just want to make one that can kind of be neutral and last for years. My
Hmm.
parents had, growing up, they had this, I don't know what it was stuffed with, if it was like a down filling or something in it, but they had this quilt on their bed, and some of the pieces were like almost velvety. And I just remembered when I was a little kid, I loved it. It was really rich colors. And
Hmm.
I don't know where my mom put it. I told her, you need to find that and just give it to me because she hasn't been using it.
Yeah.
But, it's crazy the stuff that you don't realize. I didn't grow up with my mom crafting at all. And the other day I was over there and she's like, oh, I pulled this blanket out that I embroidered. It's the cutest little embroidered stuff. I was like, I didn't even know you did that. So maybe one
You
day I'll have
did.
her on
Yeah.
and she can share some crafts.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah,
you
with the
said your
punch needle,
sister-in-law knits, so you have like a whole crafty family.
my sister-in-law cross stitches,
Oh, she
and
cross stitches. Okay.
I remember a couple years ago, she came in and she's like, I'm cross stitching. You want to do it? And I was like, no, I'll never cross stitch. And it was a few months later, Nicole Spore shared it. And I was like, oh, I think I want to cross stitch.
Yeah.
Um, she lives a few hours away, so we don't get a chance to sit together and do it very often.
Yeah.
But back to punch needle, where do you get the fabric?
I think she bought some of it at Hobby Lobby. Of course, they just have a very basic selection, but they had the weaver's cloth. But she had ordered the Lori Holt fabric from Fat Quarter Shop. Um,
Okay.
and I think that would work well. It was really nice fabric. It would work well for like the thicker yarn. And I was trying to look at it because it doesn't come packaged with like a fabric count like cross stitch does, but it looked like a very tightly woven linen, like I would say over 46 count. Like it was really tight.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, maybe
but
I'll
if I was,
research.
yeah, I mean, you can. Lori posted like a new video, and she was showing her method and everything. You pretty much have to do it, I think, in a hoop though for that tension. And but she showed like the hoop she used and the punch and everything. And you're working from the back side, so your back. I mean, you want your back to look neat, but you have to remember that you're always looking at the back, and you want to the front. You have to turn it over when you want to see it. So that's a little weird for me, getting used to working that way.
I was looking at getting a stand at some point, especially for my bigger projects. So I assume it would work, like getting a big floor stand or something. You could do the punch needle on that as well.
I think so. She was actually using, which I use the Morgan hoops that have the base is another hoop. I think I've showed it on my channel before. I
Oh,
don't have it
yeah.
on hand
Okay.
here.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But she was just using that on the table, and then she liked to use like a lap stand, and you can just do it in your lap and on your sofa.
Maybe
So
I'll do that.
yeah. So I am tempted to try it. Like I want to pick something super simple though. But I think I was looking at the last Punch Needle magazine from summer 2024, and they had some like cute smalls. And I thought that'd be a good like little quilt block style things. So I thought that'd be a good place to start to try it out.
Yeah. I think it could be really fun. I should look into it. I don't know that I'm going to commit to anything right now, but
Yeah, like I need one
I
more hobby.
right. Well, I mean, I'm just really busy on my house. I started painting my son's room, and it's a problem. he wanted a Minecraft room, and I just used paint that I had, and so I painted his room gray and put some black lines for bricks, but the black is in gloss and the walls are flat and you can like see the lines. And so I bought Kills and put it on there. So I'm like hoping that I don't have to do 100 coats of paint.
Oh no, I hate painting. I always have. And no
I
matter
don't
how slow in time I take on it, it still looks bad. So
I just don't I guess I've painted my whole life. Like even when I was a kid, it was like, here's the paintbrush, kid, go at it. And I'm the one that everybody goes to paint, do the trim and the lines and stuff, because I'll actually take my time with it. But I think as long as you just don't, like, afterwards, just don't stare at it, you're okay.
yeah.
But, Christine said she gets the time thing. She didn't start quilting until her youngest son left for college. And that's one thing I've noticed too, is when you have kids, like my son's going to school now, and although that has its own challenges with me helping him with his homework and stuff still, because he's actually taking a couple college courses, so that's kind of new. But I think that in the coming year I'll probably have a lot more time on that end too.
Yeah, that's true. And some people end up with like an empty bedroom that they can then use as a craft space if they had their kids in there, their whole life. So they have more room and more time too.
I think I could probably have 3 craft rooms in my house. I've got too much stuff.
I know. I have way too much stuff. My dream is to have one huge room at some point in my life where everything is just together instead of spaced all over the house. But
yeah, I used to try to shove it all in one room, and it just felt like it was so overwhelming. Eventually I was just like, oh, well, I have space in this drawer and I have space over there. It's organized and I know where everything is, so that's fine. But I do.
Hobbies are such a big part of your life. It's hard to not. And if your family doesn't mind, I guess it doesn't matter.
As long as they don't have to see it's funny. A couple of years ago when I got really sick, we were in the middle of rearranging the house. And so we just had like boxes stuffed in one room from somebody, to move all the rooms around. And it was around Christmas. And so it just turned into a running joke in our house. If there's any clutter, we just call it, it's just Christmas. It's just Christmas. It's okay.
Yeah.
But this has been really fun.
Yeah. And how many skeins of the pirate robin did you buy for yours? Do you remember? I forgot to ask you that.
I have. So I think let me look at it. They are 10 yards, right?
Yeah, they're 10-yard skeins.
They're 10-yard skeins, and I have 2. But I believe with the 10 yards over 1 on 40 that you would get about 3,000 stitches out of one.
Well, see, I wasn't sure because the original pattern calls for like, what is it, 6 or 7 skeins? I don't have my pattern in front of me, of the DMC. So I was like trying to do the math to see, because I was really surprised by how much, and she said she stitched over 1.
Huh. Yeah, she has 7 skeins.
So I bought 6 of the pirate robin, which I think is too much, but I just wanted to be safe.
Because she stitched it on 40 count. Yeah, I don't know. That seems like a lot.
That much floss. Yeah, I know. Because DMC skeins are like 8 point something, I think. 8 point something yards.
Yeah, I think I have one more of these in my stash. And I also think I have one in my dragon bag. I think I was using that for my Star Dragon. And I can always buy more, but obviously the color lot might change a little bit.
Yeah. I have one left over from this. It may be the same dye lot I could send you if I needed to.
Yeah, I'll double check, but I think this should be enough. So I don't know why they use so much, or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a mistake. Like they calculated it for something like 14 count or something.
Yeah, maybe so, because it does change in the software when you change the count of the fabric. But I have plenty, so I'm good to go.
It says floss usage is based off of 16 count. So that would be over 2.
Oh. See, so I did buy too much. See, I didn't see that. That's interesting because usually they base it off the model. Right. Like they tell you floss based off the model.
Yeah. So probably what, 2 or 3 skeins.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I have at least one more of these. So I'll let you know, but I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, I will definitely post mine once I get a start when my fabric comes in. I'll hopefully get a start tomorrow on mine. And you're making a lot of progress. You must have stitched a lot today.
I'm telling you, it's just so fast. I was really surprised. I mean, it was a couple hours, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I am not good at this camera. Now I'm on the other side. No, I don't know.
So is that a center start or you started at the bottom?
I started in the center. I was really, here's the pattern.
Oh, I see it now.
I started with the pot, and then I'm going to go ahead and stitch this bottom part this month that says Faith. Okay. And then I think I'm going to start working up here next month.
I love how the finishing on that is that the ribbon around the edges. I've never done that.
Is it?
Where they kind of like scrunch it up.
I haven't done that. Who was it? I think the Cow Stitcher last year had a video. I think it was the Cow Stitcher where she showed how she pulls the string through. Maybe I can find that video and share it. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to try to stitch on this like every other week.
That's a good idea. I need to catch up on my American Welcome SAL. I'm filling in the water right now, and that's taking longer than I thought.
Isn't it? I haven't gone to the water yet. I did get it. I did work on that this week since I shared it on my floss tube, and I started working on the flowers. So
that went pretty quick. Well, compared to the water.
I don't know why. I'm like, maybe it's because of the day we started on. I'm like, am I stitching a month ahead or am I behind? Like,
yeah, it is a little confusing because it was at the very end of the month. So it's like, am I on schedule or not? I'm trying to just think in terms of, okay, I need to be done by May of 2025.
So I think I figured all that out, and then I sectioned it out, and I changed my sections because maybe it's just me. The words at the top, she had them broken up, and I'm like, I have to stitch all the words at once.
Yeah, it's just like a good guide. Like sometimes if I don't want to end on, if there's like this much house left, I want to stitch it all. So I just go ahead and finish it. But
so yeah, I mean, I'm using the guide, but I was just like, okay, I think I need to. And then that's only a few hundred stitches. So I was trying to figure out like, what do I want to stitch with that? And so yeah. I got it all figured out. So I'm going to go down now, next month on the water and then start stitching left to right. So I'm kind of, because I started in the middle.
So did you say you're not going to do the over one at the bottom, the words underneath the water?
I want to be able to frame it. I think that'll make it be a custom frame if I stitch that.
That's true. I need to check it because I'm doing mine on 32 count. But I've been really wanting to start. I saw your progress on the Proverbs 31 sampler, which is gorgeous. And I know it's a small stitch, but that over one words, all of that is, whew. So I'm really thinking, yeah, that's true. But I mean, all the words.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's like over 5,000 stitches. So it's not like huge, but I think it is the over one. It's going to take quite a bit longer. I thought I would be done with it. I barely started mine.
Well, one of my subscribers sent me a picture of her work where she just did the over one as a tent stitch on a certain count of fabric. I think she was on 40 count, and I thought the coverage looked great. And so I'm really leaning towards just doing that because if I'm going to be stitching all those letters, I think the tent stitch is going to be the way to go.
That's kind of a hindrance of mine and I've done over one on other projects. I tried doing over one on one of the fancy ladies I'm stitching, and I had to pick it out. I don't know if it's the fabric I was using. It was bulky and it looked worse than doing the over two. So sometimes the over one, I think it depends on the fabric if it works easily or not.
That's what I hate is when it looks messy and bulky. And honestly, the over one is really hard to pick out. So then I feel like I'm messing up the fabric trying to just pick out those stitches.
I know. I put I think with that fancy lady, I think I had done about 50 stitches because I really wanted to make it work. And it took me like 3 hours just to pick them out. Like if they didn't want to come out, it was awful.
Yeah. So I think I'll just take my time. Maybe I'll do one letter a day or something.
Well, and I thought about that. I thought maybe if I stitch one letter and then enjoy something else and then go back up there and stitch a little bit. But I haven't started it to see because it might be okay. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I just ordered all the colors and I have fabric already, so I need to just get that started. Hopefully, maybe after this is over with, I can start a few things.
I need to start less, but I do stitch a lot. So, I mean,
Yeah, you really do. And I go through phases. Just depends on what's going on in our life. Like sometimes I just have a lot of time to stitch. Other days, like I barely have time to pick up the needles. So
yeah, this week I had a couple days where it was just sit down for 10 minutes and stitch, and that was all I got in it. But
yeah,
last month I missed a couple weeks, which I've never taken like a break from cross stitch, and so then it was almost like playing catch up with real life. I kept telling myself, no, you can't stitch, you got other stuff to do. And so
yeah,
finally I was like, this is silly, I just need to start stitching again. So
yes, for sure. Was everything going well with your son starting school and getting used to the new routine and everything?
so they started he's in a private school, and they started on Wednesday, and they have a block schedule. So every other week they have a different, like they have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the next week they do Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever, where and so they switch back and forth. So this week all they did was their Friday schedule, which I guess
Oh,
is a little bit different. So they had 2 days of Friday. So he hasn't even actually been to all the classes, and he did get a little bit of homework, but he's just because he plays baseball. So this morning he had a double header. He's just exhausted. He's physically
oh,
exhausted.
wow.
So, I mean, we told him it would be a big change, because before he homeschooled, he could sleep in if he wanted to after baseball or church or whatever. So it's a
Yeah,
change.
I guess it'll
I
just take
think
some time for him to adjust. Yeah,
for me, because I've always been his teacher, it's going to take a little bit of my time to make sure to check his assignments and make sure he's doing what they're asking.
yeah,
Because if he messed up what I asked, there was no consequence.
right. Well, I guess it means more time for you though, even though you're still checking his work. It's not like doing it all day.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad because we're already in high school. So I wasn't, it was, I mean, we'd sit down for about an hour or two a day, but it wasn't like all day long, like when they're little.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's been different because I'm like, make sure he has his lunch and everything right now. Which is a whole nother thing too, is like taking lunches and just the thoughtfulness that goes into that. So he's not just, I mean, he's in high school. He just want to take peanut butter and jelly.
right.
So that's been a change for me, is just making sure that I'm on top of like the food game, and
Yeah,
which has
or meal
really
plan.
benefited all of us, because like when I make his, I make mine, and then I'm not worried about lunch. It's already
That's
made. So that's
true.
been
Yeah, that's nice.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not a
I
cook.
think in the end I'm really getting into the whole almost empty nester thing phase, where
Yeah,
it's just like I can do my own thing again. So
it's a little bit different, but nice. Just a nice transition, kind of a little taste of it.
but I still see my kids every day, so that's nice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Sounds like y'all are very close, so that's good.
Yeah, it's tricky. Um letting them go and grow up. But
Yeah.
this has been
So you
really
have any
fun.
weekend plans or anything for tomorrow? Just kind of a
I'm painting.
relaxing day? Oh, painting. That's right.
I'm painting. Trying to get it done. I need to do a coat of like the regular paint color and see if the lines are still showing through. The
Yeah.
color is fine, but I'm afraid like just the textures might be different.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't have to do too much work and you can get that finished.
And hopefully your market goes really well the next couple days.
Yes. Then I'll be fulfilling orders after it's over. So you kind of the invoice while it's going on and then you ship right after it's over. So that's going to be the plan.
So do
So
you have boxes of patterns? Like, did you already pre-buy them?
yeah, because it's kind of they consider this a cash and carry show, even though it's virtual, so they expect you to have your stock on you. So I had to pre-order everything, and actually I got my last shipment in today, and my thread packs came in today from Pirate Robin. So I'm going to be boxing all that up and hopefully keeping everything organized. I've tried to keep like I have stacks of stuff like invoices and stuff. So this is different for me just to try to keep it all together. But anyway, it's been super exciting.
I would think the shipping might be a little overwhelming.
Yeah. And especially, I'm sure like the big designers get a lot of orders. I can't imagine trying to keep up with a ton going to different shops. And actually, this time the big selling point was international shops joining, because a lot of people won't ship to international shops, because maybe you've never done it. I've never shipped international. So we're able to ship all of our stuff to a distributor in the US, and then they're going to ship it to the international customers. So there's a lot of more interest this year with international, shops buying the projects. So
that's really nice. And it probably, if everybody, all the designers can ship there, and then they can ship in bulk to the stores, that would
just get one box. Right. Cheaper for them, and it's just better because packages get lost international, and that can just be a mess. So
I just had an order.
3 shops.
I just had an international order. I didn't know it was international when I ordered it, but it was on Amazon, and it took a whole month to get here. And Amazon was like, we think it's lost. And the shop was like, no, it's not lost. It was just like stuck in customs or something. I don't know. But it finally showed up, and it was worrying me because Amazon only lets you file a report for 30 days. And it was like 28 days before it showed up. I was like, oh, because I didn't want to I didn't want to like get a refund and then actually get the package and cause problems that way.
Exactly. Yeah. I usually try to avoid that, but sometimes you order and you don't, like you said, you don't realize it's coming from there. So, but did you do any shopping, like pre-orders for the market, like from any of the other designers?
I haven't even looked. I honestly haven't even looked. I placed one little order today from Sassy Jacks.
Okay.
I don't remember who it was. Somebody on my YouTube. I never heard of Sassy Jacks. So have you heard of that?
I've heard of them. I haven't shopped there.
So somebody on my YouTube commented that they had the chubby squirrel pattern from Jeanette Douglas. It's
okay.
It's exclusive. And so I had to go on there and pick it up. It's cute.
I have to get that because I do want to do that whole series. I love that. So
if you do, I didn't buy it, but they have an acorn frame that you can get with it.
Oh, that sounds super cute. See, you're tempting me. Now I'm going to have to go check it out. Did you get the threads with it too, or is it just the pattern?
No, it's just a pattern. I'm guessing, I think she just uses DMC on those. So
okay. Yeah, they look like a small quick stitch, but yeah, I definitely want to do that whole series. I was trying to think what would be a cute way to like frame them all together in a way, like some kind of display where they're all the little series. I don't know.
I don't have the bird yet. Every time I sit down to order it, it's sold out wherever I'm at. I'm like, So eventually I need to get the bird too.
Yeah. Did you stitch the bee already?
I did. It was a 1-day stitch.
Oh, okay. So I like that quick project.
Yeah, it was, I don't remember how many hours it took. It was 800 stitches or so, but it didn't seem like it just seemed like it was really easy and fast. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let me write that down, make a note, because I'm going to go check that out, do some shopping.
Yeah, I did. I like filled up my cart, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be being good right now. So I only bought 3 patterns. But
I'm probably for this market, I'll just be watching Floss Tube and go like, oh, I like that. Like, but they'll be showing what they bought, and then I'll have to keep a list of everything I want to buy. So
I know I'm gonna cave at some point and get some stuff. But yeah, I've been really busy, which helps not shopping.
Yeah, that's true. So you go through phases where it's like less, and then times where you can't resist things. So
I think part of it too is I kind of set up a plan for next year, and I have like a list of the charts that I want to start stitching on. And for this fall, I already have stuff kitted. So I'm trying, mentally, I'm like, I can buy that in a couple months. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
it'll be
that's
there.
True. And you're good about planning in advance. Like you're kind of already planning your next year's projects. I usually I'm not good about thinking that far.
I think for me, when I started doing that, it was because I have some health issues. And so I just started planning everything. I try to plan ahead. And with the cross stitch, I found like there's fabric that I want. Sometimes it takes a month or 2 to get here. And so it just got easier to plan ahead. And then I'm not stressed about, I wanted to start this, but I can't.
Yeah.
Like I was surprised with that stitch along that they, Hands On Design started. Who doesn't have 32 count white in their stash? It's like, I don't have any white.
The one color, yeah. I need to go buy that pattern. I think that it's exclusive just like till the end of the month or something. So I haven't bought it yet.
I think it's through September, but it's
Oh, it
great
is.
because she has in the pattern she has four, I think it's four colorways, and she actually charted it for those four like separately, and then they're all the ornaments are in the back in their separate charts.
Oh, okay, that sounds cute. I liked all the colorways. I was having a hard time deciding what I wanted to do.
I picked the blue, but I haven't kitted it yet, so I might change my mind
Yeah.
again.
I thought that would be a good one for my sulky floss, especially if I use 32 count. Be a good way to use that.
Yeah, that's one thing about this. Some of the specialty flosses is I find myself not reaching for them as much.
Yeah, there's just so many choices too. I mean, I love having the choices. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not complaining.
They're not going anywhere, right? They're not going
No,
anywhere. Yeah, I would like to bulk up my eventually get some more silks. I wanted to try Victoria Clayton.
I have one thread pack for a sampler. I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard other floss supers say they love it, and it's really unique how it's kitted like that on the little spools. So I'm anxious to try that.
Well, this has been fun. I
It
don't know how
has.
long
It
we've
went
been.
by fast. It's an
Yeah.
hour and a half. So, well, thank you to everyone who joined us. And like I said, share your progress with us on Instagram. And it is hard to talk and stitch. That's why we didn't on this live. We just kind of had fun hanging out, chatting about everything. So, but maybe we can do another one, maybe throughout the SAL, pop in and check on everything, see how it's going, show you our progress.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. And thank you, Laura, for hosting this and getting me into the world of lives
Yeah,
because I've
I
never.
hope to see you doing some on your own too, because they're super fun. I love connecting with the subscribers. It feels a little more personal than just seeing a comment on your channel. So I have fun with it. So, well, we hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And if you have any questions about the SAL, please let us know. And I'll pop up that hashtag again. That's what we're using for the SAL to track it on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, thanks you guys for joining us. This was great.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye, Christine. And everyone have a great weekend. And bye, Hannah.
Bye.